All right.
All right.
Bless you.
Thank you. That was a cough, but
Oh.
I might open with that. uh Hello and welcome back to Cape Corner, where we explore the history, story, and cultural impact of a different character or group every episode. I'm Blue,
And I'm Jay.
and we will be your hosts as we take this journey together. Um, so last week was our belated Halloween episode. Because you and I weren't really up to doing a like an actual Halloween episode. So I took a break that weekend.
Mm.
Um, and I was like, but I really want to talk about Ghost Rider. So I was just like, fuck it, I'll talk about Ghost Rider. Um, and that was fun, but half of the episode wasn't about Ghost Rider. It was literally just me and Jordan devolving into whatever we were talking about. So I had to call it Ghost Rider and the Kitchen Sink. Um, I would say, guys, I'll try to be more focused this week, but honestly, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Because we've got a real juicy topic to talk about today. Um, I put up a poll on the Cape Corner Discord. Make sure to join it. You can vote in polls for what you want to hear about, and wound up with a three-way tie. Uh, because the options I put up were Commander Shepard, which nobody voted for, uh, which sucks. uh, Samus Aran, uh, Yugi Moto from Yu-Gi-Oh, uh, and the last one, which we'll be talking about today. You decided because I was like, well, it's a three-way tie, so I'll just whatever you want to do, man. And you chose this one, so it technically we're not really talking about a single character. I know that's not what this podcast typically does. Like we focus on a single character, we talk about their various incarnations in media, but that would be really hard to ever talk about this franchise focused in on a single character, because even what a lot of people regard as the main character isn't the main character across all forms of media. uh, the most iconic characters in the series aren't like characters. So uh you guys will just have to deal with it. I don't know what to tell you. This week we're talking about I don't how do I even like they don't really have I guess I could do the whole like uh this world is full of mysterious creatures called Pokemon, which is the closest thing I can get to like a fucking nickname or whatever. Um, we're talking Pokemon. Okay, Jay, you don't really fuck with Pokemon,
Not really.
so I'm so curious. I want to hear you describe to me what you think Pokemon is all about.
Okay. I think it's usually about this kid, which can change depending on the show. So I'm just going to call
Mhm.
him Kid.
Yeah.
Wants to go out and catch these little, I'm going to call Pokemon, which are kind of like spicy animals.
That's a good way to put them.
And then they essentially just make them fight other Pokemon. And he tries to go higher up in the ladder and get more badges until they can be what how's it go? Uh Best gym master there is or something like that.
All right. Is that it? That what you got?
That's what I got. I know a couple Pokemon, but that's pretty much all I got.
All right. First thing I got to address. You're saying it like a mom. Like my mom would call them Pokemon or Pokemon. It's Pokemon, but I understand. Okay, so in the early 90s, uh, Satoshi, I can't remember his other name, fuck. Uh, but the creator of Pokemon first wanted to make a game for the Game Boy where you would be able to collect and trade various kinds of insects. Um, he liked, like uh, collecting bugs essentially, and he wanted to make a game about it. And from there, it wound up developing into, wait, what if you could actually collect all kinds of animals and trade them with your friends? And the question then becomes, okay, but like, if you grab a Hercules beetle or something off the ground, that makes sense. But how would you collect like a fucking rhino and trade it with your friend? And the answer was, what if they were monsters that you could fit in your pocket? Pocket monsters, or Pokemon for short. Um, and
Is that really what Pokemon stands for?
Pocket monsters, yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because the the entire idea of the series revolves around the revolutionary invention known as the Pokeball, which is I'm sure you've seen it. It's a red and white ball.
Mm.
The top half is red. There's like a black line in the middle separating it, and a button on front, like a white button and a white bottom. And they, like, when you grab them in their like resting state, they're like the size of like a marble, maybe, like probably about an inch all the way across. You can hold them in between your fingers, but when you hit the little button, it expands to fit inside like your whole hand. Um, and when you throw this device at a Pokemon, it turns the Pokemon into like energy with a little laser beam and pulls them inside of it and closes and can capture them. Now, a Pokemon of sufficient strength or that's at full health will actually be able to break back out. So the idea is you need to battle it and weaken it first. And there are various levels of Pokeballs. Like the basic Pokeball is for catching weaker Pokemon, and then a Great Ball is for catching like more mid-level Pokemon, and an Ultra Ball is for capturing like the highest level Pokemon. And there's a shit ton of other specialized Pokeballs. Like there's one that's a Dive Ball for catching undersea Pokemon, or the Dusk Ball for catching Pokemon either at night or in caves, in dark areas. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. But the point is, these people will catch a Pokemon, which is essentially a wild animal in this world, but in this world, they've all got the ability to attain fantastical abilities, from like shooting bubbles out of their mouth as a weapon to shooting lasers that can like destroy skyscrapers, depending on how strong they are. Um, and when a person captures a Pokemon, what they do is because it's not okay. There have been some people that have been trying to be like, it's like cockfighting, isn't it fucked up that you're forcing animals to fight each other? Well, the thing is, Pokemon, despite the fact that they typically can only like say their own name, they actually are like around human level intelligence. They can understand, they can converse. They really have to like talk back through like body language or whatever, but they're intelligent beings. So once a trainer has proved capable enough to capture them, it makes that Pokemon typically go, this guy's really strong. He can pull out the potential of Pokemon. I want him to make me strong. And so it becomes like a boxer and a boxing trainer kind of relationship, where like a coach. A trainer is essentially the Pokemon's coach, and they alter their diet and have them exercise by battling and strengthen that Pokemon up. Because while trainers are all about competing with each other, the Pokemon also like to compete with each other. So it's a much more of a symbiotic relationship. But yeah, so they developed a sporting uh, sport. Fuck. Uh, they developed a competition among trainers because, when you got so many people that are like, I'm better than you, no, I'm better than you got to be able to prove it. So, thus, they developed the Pokemon League. Now, the Pokemon League takes different forms depending on which region you're in. But typically, you have Pokemon Gems, which you were talking about, a gym leader, which specializes in a certain type of Pokemon. Because they're classified by different types, like water, fire, psychic, fighting, bug, ground, rock, steel, dark, fairy, flying, etc., etc. Like the sort of elemental affinities they have, or the bodily characteristics they have, alter which type they're classified as. And some Pokemon can have two types, like uh, Charizard, big ol' dragon guy that everyone knows. He is fire and flying because he has wings and can breathe fire. Um, so a gym leader typically specializes in a type of Pokemon. They're considered one of the best trainers in that region, and if you battle them and beat them, then you earn a gym badge. And when you get 8 badges, you can go on to fight in the Pokemon League, which is also presented in different ways. In the anime, it's like a big tournament, right? But in the games, typically, it's not an event, right? It's just a thing that's always going on. If you have 8 badges at any time, you can go and you battle the Elite Four. The Elite Four are the 4 strongest trainers in the land, second only to the champion. If you manage to beat the Elite Four, and there is no currently sitting champion, you are considered the champion of that region. If there is, then you're already considered like a pro level, right? But you also get a chance to challenge the champion to gain their title. And the champions are always crazy powerful, crazy good. A lot of the gym leaders don't have like full teams of 6 because you can have up to 6 Pokemon at a time. If you capture a 7th, then it actually like teleports away. Your Pokemon gets stored as data in a PC because like digitizing life forms is just a thing they figured out how to do.
Just
Uh,
casually.
well, it's funny because like you would expect that there would be like massive ramifications for that, right? And like
Mm.
largely there isn't, though there is one species of Pokemon and a couple of derivatives that actually is a computer program that through this like digitizing and realizing process has come to life and become a Pokemon. And it is called Porygon, which, if you know anything about Japanese, is really just the word polygon. um, and it is a shitty little like it looks like a Nintendo 64 like uh computer generated character. Like it's got like flat planes on it that you can very clearly see. Um though so Pokemon are capable of evolving into better forms. Uh it can uh it can evolve into Porygon 2, which is a smoother texture. Uh and it doesn't have the like flat planes on it anymore. Uh, and I guess that's the thing I should talk about is Pokemon evolution. So a lot of times, as you train your Pokemon, they'll reach a milestone where their body can change. Pokemon evolution is much more rapid than normal animal evolution that we consider in our world. Um, for them, their bodies stay a certain form until they hit a milestone of growth, and then they rapidly evolve into a higher form over the course of like 30 seconds. Um, and uh, uh, evolution can like take a few different forms. Like typically it's depicted that they just suddenly glow a shining white, the white mass morphs, and then they stop glowing and they look different. But like for example, there's a Pokemon Caterpie who is a little worm guy, and he has a move called String Shot, where he can fire silk at his opponents or like webbing or something, and it like sticks them and slows them down. And actually, when he's the first Pokemon that we see evolve in the anime, and he like puts his head back, shoots a string shot up into the air, and like it rains down on him, and like he makes a cocoon of the string shot around himself, and it like morphs and shifts, and he becomes Metapod, which is a cocoon Pokemon. Um,
Okay.
and then later on, when Ash, who is the main character of the anime typically, Ash is trying to like run and protect Metapod from a bunch of bee drills. Which imagine a 3 foot tall bee
Ooh.
for hands.
Oh, I've
Um,
seen a picture of that. Okay. I know what you're
yeah,
talking about.
one of them slashes Metapod open and Ash freaks out, thinking that Metapod just died. But instead, from inside, the Pokemon Butterfree comes out. So that's how it evolved in that show. Uh,
Okay.
but there's a bunch of different ways evolution can happen. Typically, it's usually just get them to a high enough level because they level up like an RPG character as they gain experience.
Mm.
Um, get them to a high enough level, and it just happens. They'll evolve. But some have special requirements. Some Pokemon require evolutionary stones, which are like gemstones that are filled with a sort of elemental energy of some sort. And when a Pokemon is touched by one of those stones, they evolve. Um, the easiest Pokemon to talk about this with is Eevee. Eevee is a famous Pokemon. It's like one of the big mascot characters along with Pikachu, and it's far better than Pikachu. Um, I don't actually like Pikachu as a mascot character, especially when Raichu is right there. I'll have a whole rant about that. Don't worry. But for now, Eevee. Eevee is a little fucking mutant because where some Pokemon have like a branching evolutionary path, like okay, as an example, you have the Pokemon Poliwag. It's a little tadpole Pokemon. Then it turns into Poliwhirl, which is it's still sort of like a halfway, but it's got little arms and legs now, and it's got little gloves. It's very cute. Um, Now, originally in the first games, Poliwhirl could only evolve into Poliwrath, and you had to have to touch him with a water stone to turn him in. He looks almost exactly the same as Poliwhirl, but now he's got angry eyes and he looks a bit beefier.
Mm.
But starting with the second generation, they introduced Politoad. If you don't expose Poliwhirl to a water and instead you max out your friendship with it, it turns into Politoad, which is a little green frog boy who looks super happy. Um, so like that's an example of branching pathways. And like I said, typically Pokemon could like branch into one of two different like trees. As of right now, Eevee has 8 branches.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So okay, if you touch Eevee with a water stone, it becomes Vaporeon, which is a little mermaid fish creature. I should say Eevee looks like a little brown like fox. It's very cute. Um, so all of these, imagine a fox turned into something. So like imagine a fox turned into like a blue mermaid thing. So it's got 4 legs, but it's also got like a mermaid tail coming off its back instead of a big fluffy tail.
Oh.
And it's got little fins around its head instead of like hair or whatever.
Mm.
Um, if you expose it to a thunderstone, it becomes Jolteon, who is a spiky yellow uh, uh, fox thing with the power of electricity. If you expose it to a firestone, it becomes Flareon, which is red and fiery. Uh, So those were the three branches introduced in the first Pokemon games. Starting with Generation 2, Gold and Silver, if you maxed out your friendship with Eevee during the day, it would become Espeon, a psychic type, who's like a very smooth looking, uh, elegant purple fox thing. Uh, if you max out your friendship with it at night, Eevee would become Umbreon, a little black furred thing with like yellow ring patterns on its fur, which
Hmm.
is a dark type. Then in Generation 4, they introduce okay, so it's a little bit different, right? In Generation 4, there are two rocks somewhere in the world. One is on a mountain and one is in a forest. If you touch your Eevee to this very specific moss covered rock in the world in Generation 4 in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, then it becomes a Leafeon, which is a grass type. Or if you touch it to the snowy rock, it becomes a Glaceon, which is an ice type. But because they didn't want to keep programming specific rocks in the environment and all the games going forward, I think now it's like if you touch them with a leaf stone or a, I don't know, I don't know if there's an ice stone, but maybe there is. But whatever, you can use evolutionary stones on them now. And finally, in Generation 6, they introduced Sylveon, which is okay. So friendship is a different meter than I can't. It's like affection or something like that. Friendship, I think you get by just like uh, feeding it good items and like winning battles, but affection you get through like using some sort of system to pet it a lot and play with it.
Okay.
Um, but if you max out its affection, I'm sure it's not called that. I can't remember, but if you max that out, it becomes Sylveon, which looks like a more slender, pinkish colored Eevee, but now it's got ribbons on it, and it's all the colors of the trans flag.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so Sylveon has kind of become like a trans icon in the Pokemon community. Um, but yeah, so that's an example. Or like some Pokemon you have to trade with other players to get it to evolve. Um, uh, Famously, I say it's not famous. It's just something that happened to me. Um, I had a Pokemon when I was a kid called Machoke. Machoke is a big, muscly bodybuilder guy, and if you want him to evolve into Machamp, who has 4 arms and is one of the physically strongest Pokemon, you have to trade Machoke. And when your friend receives that Machoke, it evolves immediately into Machamp. So I made a deal with this kid named Jesse, who I didn't like Jesse. He was kind of a fucking dick, but he's the only one that I knew that lived near me that really played Pokemon like that. So I made a deal with him. I was like, look, you've got a Kadabra, which is like a psychic fox thing. I was like, it can only evolve into Alakazam by, trading, right? So let's do this. Trade me your Kadabra. I'll trade you my Machoke. We will both get Machamp and Alakazam in our Pokedexes registered, and then we can trade back. And he was like, all right. And we traded. Both of the Pokemon evolved. I was like, cool. All right, let's trade back. And he was like, nah, I like this one. Motherfucker, we made a deal. And I was actually about to beat him up, like in real life. Uh, but my mom came through and she saw that I was, getting my dander up, so she dealt with it. Basically scolded the kid until he traded back. Um, I'm sure he's like a Proud Boys member or something these days. Whatever. The point is, uh, so like some Pokemon, they have different requirements on how you evolve them. um, oh, and you were talking about you think that the point of Pokemon is to become the gym master. It's not it. So a gym leader is like a job that experienced Pokemon trainers can get, but what you're thinking of is a Pokemon master.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is it's not an official thing, right? Like it's just if people acknowledge you as one, then you are one. Good job. It's very ambiguous. Some people say that in order to be a true Pokemon master, you need to be the champion of a region and also own one of every Pokemon. Um, but nowadays there's over 800 of those motherfuckers, and not all of them are in the new games. They choose a selection of them, so that's ridiculous. Um, I don't even know if you have to be the champion to be considered a Pokemon master, because that would mean that there are only a few of them in the whole world, right? Because like it's not a matter of you perfecting your craft or whatever. It's a matter of you being the one person that is the best at any given time. Would that mean that you're no longer a master if you were the champion and then somebody else, took over the spot? Like it's not well defined. So I think they should stop trying to use it.
Mm.
Um, the real goal in the games is to become the champion. It's to battle your way through trainers and wild Pokemon and build your team, get all 8 badges, beat the Elite Four, and then defeat the current sitting champion. That's the point.
Okay.
And uh, the first character you play as in the Pokemon games, you can name yourself. So obviously this isn't like set in stone, but canonically, as far as the story is concerned, the character is called Red. And you'll notice a lot of the canonical names of characters are just colors. Uh, Unfortunately for me, Blue is a character, and he's kind of a dick. Uh, he's the rival character in the first game. He's the one that his anime equivalent is Gary Oak. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy.
I think I've seen Gary, like a picture of Gary Oak once or twice.
He has like big brown spiky hair, a purple shirt. He's constantly looking smug and shitty.
Oh, maybe that's not who I'm thinking of then.
Uh, well, anyway, uh, Gary just like in the anime exists to be kind of just a shitheel. But in the games, he's like he starts off as kind of an immature, shittier kid, but then over the course of it grows. There's actually a fan theory that's pretty fucked up that Red killed one of his Pokemon by accident.
Damn.
So to explain that, there is this cursed ass place in the first Pokemon games, Pokemon Red and Blue, called or Red and Green if you're in Japan, uh, called Lavender Town. So in those games you're in the Kanto region. All of the towns and cities in that place are named after colors. Um, you start in Pallet Town. There's Vermilion City, Pewter City, Cerulean City, Vermilion City, uh, Celadon City, Saffron City, Fuchsia City, Cinnabar Island, and so on and so forth. But in Lavender Town, there's this place called the Pokemon Tower, which is basically a a graveyard that they put in a tower. Which why would you do that? I guess it's not really a graveyard. I guess it's a memorial, but there's tombstones and stuff up as you go higher and higher up these floors. So I don't know. It's a weird design choice. It is spooky as shit because the place is haunted. I should say ghosts are not a suggestion; they are a factual thing in Pokemon because there is a ghost type Pokemon, and and they seem to only be born when other things die. Like, okay, Pokemon sells itself as this extremely kid-friendly thing, but the Pokedex entries that you can read, the Pokedex, by the way, is the electronic encyclopedia device where
Mhm.
when you capture a Pokemon, it records data about them and generates like encyclopedia entries about them. Um, the Pokedex entries can be really fucked up. For example, let's take the Pokemon Phantom. It is a little like it looks like a little wispy ghosty with a little stump as like a helmet or a mask that it wears. So it's got little eye holes in the stump, and it seems cute enough until you read its Pokedex entry, which states that phantoms are born specifically when children get lost in the woods and die, and so their souls enter one of the nearby trees.
Oh. So technically that Pokemon is a human?
Yep, it's fucked up, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
And that's not even to talk about one of the creepiest Pokemon ever is Drowsy and its evolution Hypno. Drowsy I find to be a little bit less innocuous or a little bit less creepy, even though it definitely looks creepier. It's this gross yellow creature with a little trunk, and its bottom half looks like it's covered in mud, and it's based on a tapir. Excuse me. A tapir is like a it's like a little rodent or marsupial type creature. Think of it
Mm,
as like a think of it as like a fat gerbil or rat kind of thing, but it's got a little like halfway elephant trunk,
okay.
and it sort of digs itself in the mud to cool off. It's one of those things. But in Japan, there's a legend that tapirs can eat dreams. Uh, and if you have a nightmare, it's because a tapir finds your dreams to be especially sweet tasting, and so it's eating your good dreams and only leaving bad dreams behind because they're not tasty.
Okay.
So Drowsy has its main combo it uses is Hypnosis, a move which puts your Pokemon to sleep, and Dream Eater, which only works on sleeping Pokemon and it damages them and then steals their health to heal itself. There's also Nightmare, which again can only be used on a sleeping Pokemon, but it doesn't heal and it does damage every turn for like 5 turns. Uh, but the point is, there's a lot of shit about it, like essentially like date raping people because it can just roofie them at will. Um, and what's even worse is Hypno, its evolution, which has a little pendulum and specializes in not just putting people to sleep, but mind controlling them. Dude, there is so much fucked up porn of Hypno.
I could already see that once you started describing.
Yeah, it's really upsetting. I don't like it. I do not like anything that is not consensual. I understand it is a fantasy, but I just don't enjoy that. Okay, so what was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about fucking Blue's Dead Radicate. Okay, so there's a so as you travel through the game, you fight Blue more and more, right? And every time you encounter him, either he's got a new Pokemon or one of his Pokemon have evolved to a higher, level, or whatever, right? So you can see him developing his team as you go through the game, developing your own team. It's pretty cool. Before Lavender Town, one of the Pokemon on his team is Eradicate, which is a little garbage creature. It's like a fat rat that has this move Hyper Fang, which can do ridiculous amounts of damage for its early level. It's irritating. But uh when you encounter him in Lavender Town, you actually encounter him in Pokemon Tower. You are going up the tower. And I should also say you have to do the tower after you complete Saffron City, fighting the criminal organization Team Rocket, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Because you get this device called the Sylph Scope from them, and the Sylph Scope allows you to visualize ghost Pokemon. Whenever you try going up the tower, you just see them as like a generic spirit icon, and you can't battle them. But with the Sylph Scope, you can actually identify their like actual ghost Pokemon bodies, and you can battle them and capture them and stuff. So you're going up, and Blue is actually coming down the tower, meaning he was up there already for some reason, and you battle him there, and he doesn't have Raticate. And so the implication is in the previous battle, Red must have accidentally killed Raticate, did so much damage that Blue couldn't get to the Pokemon Center to heal his Pokemon in time, and Raticate died on the way. And so he was up there praying or like visiting his Pokemon's grave.
Oh.
Yeah. So through circumstances like maybe accidentally killing his Pokemon question mark, he does wind up maturing as the games go on. And while he is upset because he ultimately managed to beat the Elite Four and become the champion, like moments before Red got there, and they have their final battle, and Red wins, and Blue gets upset. He's like, I was only the champion for like 5 minutes. What the fuck? Which is understandable. But like it shows like he still has a more measured response than he would have in the beginning of the game, where he had the famous catchphrase, smell you later.
Mm.
And he was just a little shitheel. So it is cool to see him grow. And then in later games, he's actually just cool with Red. Like they're just kind of bros. Actually, so okay, a thing that was a feature that everyone loved and everyone's sad isn't a regular feature of Pokemon games anymore. Uh, Pokemon Gold and Silver were the first new Pokemon games, right? Um, they added 100 new Pokemon. They had a whole new region called Johto, new story, everything. Everything was great and new. And when you play through all of the main story, there's actually a post game where you can take a boat to ride over to Kanto and experience what Kanto is like 2 years later after the original games. And some of the gym leaders have changed. And because the eighth and final gym leader in Kanto was Giovanni, who is the boss of Team Rocket, and his organization fell at the hands of a 10-year-old, he is not the leader there anymore. The new gym leader in Viridian City is Blue. And he took over and he's more mature now, and it's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And what's great is that after you beat the Elite Four in Kanto as well, so you've beaten them in both Johto and Kanto, the last place you can go in the game is a mountain that there's a mountain range that separates Johto and Kanto. You go up to the top of the tallest mountain, which is called Mount Silver. And at the peak, at the summit, amidst this like blowing snowy wind and everything, like it's very dense, you can barely see in front of you. You see a silhouette is standing there, and you approach and they turn around, and it's your own player avatar from the first games. And you just hear this dun 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 dun, dun, and this like epic orchestral, well, as orchestral as the Game Boy could get, music plays, and you just see uh Champion Red wants to battle, and you got to battle your own player from the last game. It is so cool. It was the best. Uh, all right. So now I'm going to talk about criminal organizations. I'm sure you've heard of Team Rocket, right?
Yeah. We're blasting
Um,
off again.
yeah. So in the anime, they're like the Three Stooges. You know, they're not particularly threatening. Um, Jesse, James, and Meowth. Uh, by the way, I should point out a lot of people seem to think Meowths are just one of the species of Pokemon that can talk. Not true. It's just that that specific Meowth taught himself how to speak English.
How do you teach your like especially as
So
a Pokemon?
is okay. So again, you got to recall that Pokemon are borderline human level intelligence. Like they can hold conversations and stuff.
Oh
You can
yeah,
give
that's
them
true.
complex commands and like they get it. Um, for him, his story was that he was in love with this pretty female Meowth. But there was like a big Persian who is what Meowth evolves into, who's so basically like a hunky adult that was like wooing her. And Meowth was like, I can't be as big and strong as he is, so I'm going to impress her with my smarts. So what he would do is, because he lived in a city, he would go by like the window of a TV store and he would just stare at the TV and like try mimicking what the humans on the screen were saying. And he did that day after day until he learned how to speak English. And when or Japanese, you know, depending on what you're watching. And when he eventually came to her, he had a little bouquet of flowers and he was talking to her, you know, as a human. She freaked out and she thought that he was a freak.
Poor Meowth.
So he got really bummed out and he wound up, you know, getting picked up by Team Rocket and deciding to join them and just vent his frustration on the world. Um, I should also point out James is actually he should be the main character of the Pokemon anime. Ash sucks. He is terrible at actually being a good trainer. James, I don't think he like hardly ever actually catches a Pokemon. Like he never battles and captures a Pokemon. Every time a Pokemon gets added to its team, it's because that Pokemon loves James so much it willingly goes into a Pokeball to come along on his journey.
Really.
Yeah, he's actually just a really good person and really cares about his Pokemon. Um, Also, the anime started doing this thing where they like naming their characters after Old West characters. So Jesse and James are named after Jesse James.
You know, it's funny. I know who Jesse and James is in Pokemon, but I don't know who Jesse James is.
He was an old outlaw in the Old West.
Oh,
And similarly, they actually have their own rivals in the Team Rocket organization, uh, uh, called Butch and Cassidy,
okay.
who are named after Butch Cassidy.
That's neat that they do that though.
Yeah. Their partner Pokemon is Eradicate, which again, the little shits, I hate them. Um, but yeah, okay, so the way that Team Rocket is depicted in the anime isn't really the same in the games because like they have actual grunts and stuff, but you hardly ever see them. You only it's always Jesse and James and Meowth going after Ash trying to steal his fucking Pikachu. But in in the games, they're all dressed like weird like 1920s newsboy mobsters, but like sleeker. So like, okay, they've got like black bodysuits, right? It's not like I wouldn't say skin tight, but you know, they're not like baggy clothes or anything. Uh
Hmm.
Black pants, black shirts with a big red R in the middle of the chest. They have those what are they called? They're like the hats that like old newsies would wear. You know, like
Fedora?
huh? No, not a fedora. It was like there was a brim, but it was like a poofy, like it was like puffy on the top. Um, like the kid that goes extra, extra, read all about it. Like, where's one of them?
I know what hat you're talking about. I can't think of the name now though.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever knew their name, but uh, but anyway, it's they wear like black ones of those. And like the guys wear black pants, the girls wear black skirts, but that's basically how they dress, right? Um,
Mm.
and like Team Rocket was the first criminal organization in Pokemon, but they're not the only one. And they have varying themes, varying levels of threat, varying goals. So Team Rocket is sort of based around like an almost like a mafia theme, right? Um, Giovanni is the leader, and he wears like a suit and tie and looks very menacing. So he looks like he would be a mob boss. And Team Rocket's goal is literally just let's steal good Pokemon from other people. And that's pretty much it. Um, Pokemon Gold and Silver didn't actually introduce a new team because that wasn't the established thing yet. They used Team Rocket again, except now it was just the lingering dregs of whatever was still around after Red basically demolished their organization. Um, Starting with Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, Generation 3, they started the trend of adding a new team every generation. And to make up for the fact that Gold and Silver didn't have a team, Ruby and Sapphire introduced two teams, um, Team Magma and Team Aqua. And they're competing environmental based villain teams. Team Magma wants to increase the land mass on the planet. They figure 75% water. There's not actually a whole lot that like land-based creatures like humans can do. So we're going to get the legendary Pokemon Groudon. And I should point out, legendary Pokemon are like crazy shit. Like they're bordering on godly powers. One of them is literally the god of the universe. So, you know.
Is
Um,
that the one that kind of looks like a hairless cat?
no, you're thinking of Mew. I'll get to
Yes.
Mew. Don't worry. Well, actually, I'll go ahead and talk about Mew right now. Um, Mew is this cute little pink floaty guy who is an ancient Pokemon. What's really fun is that for the first Pokemon movie, if you went to see the movie in theaters, you would get one of like 5 different Pokemon cards, and one of them that you could get is the Ancient Mew card, which was a Pokemon card, except it was done completely in hieroglyphics and made to look like it was carved out of stone. Um, so it looks completely different from all other Pokemon cards. Um, and I had one of them. Of course I did. But uh, yeah, so Mew is like the ancestor of all Pokemon. It is considered to be the first Pokemon, and this is backed up by the fact that one, it can learn every move, like all of the moves in the game. If you have a TM for it, which is a device that teaches moves to Pokemon, it can learn that move. It does not matter what type it is. It does not matter what require. See, like some Pokemon can only learn, or all Pokemon rather, can only learn certain moves, right? For
Mm.
example, a Pokemon without arms can't learn Focus Punch because it can't punch because it doesn't have hands, right?
Yeah.
Um, or like Pokemon that like a non-bug type Pokemon can't often learn something like Bug Buzz, stuff like that. Uh, but you can learn anything, which means that it's essentially like genetically compatible with every other Pokemon. And also, it is one of only two Pokemon that can learn Transform, which allows it to literally transform into another Pokemon that it's fighting. Um, and the only other Pokemon that can learn Transform is Ditto, which another fan theory, because Ditto is like a gross pink blob, So in the first games, Team Rocket was trying to clone Mew. The idea is that Ditto are failed clones of Mew.
Really?
Yeah, the reason they're pink blobs is because they were trying to make Mew as he is, little pink cat guy. But it just came out as a blob. But it can still transform into other Pokemon like Mew can.
Oh.
However, they did succeed finally in cloning Mew, and they created the strongest Pokemon in the world, which is called Mewtwo. And Mewtwo does not look like Mew. He is much bigger. Or I should like honestly, Mew is non-binary, so I just say he because I'm a guy and that's how I think. But it's realistically they them. Um, but Mewtwo is big and strong and intimidating as hell. Like you've definitely seen Mewtwo, whether you know it or not.
Mm,
Like have you ever played Super Smash Brothers?
no.
Okay. Um, just Google Mewtwo real quick. I'm sure you've seen
All
him.
right.
It's Mewtwo.
All right. That's actually who I was thinking of when I said the hairless cat.
Delete the two so you can see what Mew looks like.
Oh, all right.
Much cute.
Yeah.
Um, okay, but yeah, so Mewtwo actually has some of the like coolest storytelling in the entire series. Uh, and Mewtwo appears in the movie Detective Pikachu, which I actually think was a fantastic Pokemon movie. I loved it. It was great. Um, a lot of people were bummed that Danny DeVito didn't voice Pikachu in that movie, but it's fine. Uh, for context, Detective Pikachu is actually based on a Nintendo DS game, and in that game, Detective Pikachu is voiced by Danny DeVito.
Oh, okay.
They got Ryan Reynolds to voice him in the movie, but it still worked out great. All right, but yeah, okay. Back to what I was saying with the villain teams. So Team Magma wants to use Groudon, which is a Pokemon of the Earth, to create more landmass. Uh, it can both move Earth and also like make lava, so it'd be good at that. Team Aqua, on the other hand, thinks all life came from the ocean, and you know, uh, think of the new life forms, the new species, and the developments of existing life all over the planet that there could be, if there was more water. I mean, we need water to live anyway, and uh, if like there's only the one coral reef and it's dying, so like we could have more coral reef, it'd be great. Um, and I don't think either team really realizes the implications of like altering the land to ocean ratio, but they're going for it. So Team Aqua tries to get Kyogre, which is a giant like whale legendary Pokemon, which can like summon the rain and raise the oceans and all this stuff. Um, in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, the team that you fight against is Team Galactic, which I think is the coolest team because one, I really like space theme stuff, but also they have the wildest of all of the goals. Um, they are going after uh okay, so the legendary Pokemon in the games up until now have been like slowly escalating, right? Like in the first games, the legendary trio is birds named Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. an ice bird, a thunderbird, and a firebird. Um, and uh, Generation 2 introduces Lugia, which is like a big white. It doesn't even really look like a bird. It sure looks like something. But he is associated with the three elemental birds. Um, and that game also introduces Raikou, Suicune, and Entei, a fire dog, a water dog, and a lightning dog. And they're associated with the other legendary bird in that game, Ho-Oh, which is like a big. It kind of looks like a rainbowy phoenix sort of thing. Um, they also had, Mew and Mewtwo. Gold and Silver had Celebi, which is a little forest spirit guardian, which can travel through time. It's a big deal.
Mm.
Um, and then the third games again had Kyogre and Groudon, Pokemon of the Earth, Pokemon of the Sea, and also Rayquaza, who is a Pokemon of the Sky. It's a big green dragon. And Generation 3 there, Ruby and Sapphire, also added in the fact that some Pokemon are actually aliens.
What?
Because we got Deoxys, which is one of the coolest fucking Pokemon. It is a DNA based alien Pokemon that came from space. And in the remakes, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, after you capture Rayquaza, you actually ride him up into space. So you're on the back of a dragon while in a spacesuit. As a meteor comes down and Deoxys battles it. And so you use your fucking Sky Dragon to battle an alien Pokemon in space while your actual character, your trainer, is standing on the wing of a satellite.
I didn't know Pokemon got that wild.
It really does. It's crazy. So like again, things have been escalating. Oh, and that game also had Jirachi, which is a cute little star Pokemon. It's literally a wishing star because it can grant wishes. So like we're into like full like crazy territory with legendaries now. And so Generation 4 reached its ultimate conclusion. um, Team Galactic is trying to get their hands on the two legendary Pokemon that are the box art. Dialga, the Dragon of Time. It is a legendary Pokemon whose roar created time.
Really?
Yes. And Palkia, the Dragon of Space. A legendary Pokemon whose roar created space. And they're part of their own trinity with the mascot for Pokemon Platinum, which is like the third game. Because what happens is Pokemon will release 2 games and then later release a third game, which has the best aspects of both of them, and then also upgrade some stuff. So Pokemon Platinum showed us Giratina, the Dragon of Death. So it is essentially the Lord of the Afterlife.
Mm.
So we've now gotten into time, space, and death. And I should note that in terms of the Pokemon hierarchy, those 3 are only underneath of Arceus, which is literally the Pokemon who created the universe.
I gotta ask, in any of the Pokemon games, can you catch any of them? Like
Yes, you can
those
catch
like
all of them.
god tier? Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
What's really fucked up is in every game, there's a singular Pokeball called the Master Ball, which, no matter what, has a 100% catch rate. You do not need to battle whatever you are fighting. Literally, like, there's a comic that shows Arceus with like divine radiance, like, I am the one that created your entire existence, child. You cannot possibly fathom it. And it's just a stupid little 10-year-old throws a master ball at it. And someone was like, yo, can you imagine you're a grown-ass adult. You've spent decades of your life perfecting your craft, building your team, loving your Pokemon and caring for them and training them as best as you can. You've learned everything you can about type advantages. You've become the best in your field. You're the champion of an entire region of the world. And you see some dumb little 10-year-old come up to challenge you, and you're like, well, I better not underestimate him, because even if he looks like a stupid kid, he's gotten this far, right? And then they throw a Pokeball and God comes out of
I I think I'd fucking be scared as shit, honestly.
it. Yeah. Oh, Pokemon's so fucking ridiculous. um but yeah, so the entire thing that Team Galactic wanted to do was they wanted to get their hands on one of these cosmically powerful Pokemon so that they could reboot the universe in their own image.
All right.
The
Honest,
others are, oh, go on.
honestly, I'm not even surprised from what they try to do in this universe now.
Right. um and the other teams, okay, everybody, I hear a lot of people talk about they think Generation 5 is their favorite Pokemon generation. I'm going to put this out there. It sucks. I hate Pokemon Black and White, which sucks because those sound like they should be some of the coolest games. They've got some of the worst Pokemon designs. And like, I'm aware, okay? I'm not some stupid Gen 1er. People like make fun of people who constantly talk about, oh, the first games were the best. They're not. I'm aware they're old and they're kind of bad now. Trust me, I know. Going through an entire game without running shoes sucks. Having to maintain the same walk speed the entire time is slow as fuck. Uh, and they'll be like, well, the fucking Pokemon in the first gen was shit like a magnet who then evolves into 3 magnets. I'm like, I'm aware that doesn't excuse a Pokemon that is an ice cream cone that evolves into 2 ice cream cones that then evolves into 3 ice cream cones. Or a Pokemon that is literally a sentient trash bag.
Oh, wait, really?
Trubbish. Look it up. Trubbish.
All right, hang on. I gotta see this one. Oh my God.
I do not like the designs of the Pokemon in those games. I do not like the gym leaders. I do not like the story because the villain. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I did not mean to scream just now. I just noticed that there was a mouse on the glue trap that we have.
Oh, I thought you were just screaming because of.
No, I started to walk into the kitchen and I saw a mouse was stuck there and it scared me. I apologize. What was I saying? Oh, the villain team, they're basically PETA
Ah,
in that they claim to care about animals, but then actually do worse by the animals than anyone else does. Um, yeah, in case anyone isn't aware, don't trust PETA. They're horrible. They literally will go to shelters claiming that the shelters are mistreating animals and buy those animals to, quote unquote, save them, only to wind up killing them.
oh, that is fucked.
Yep. PETA is historically extremely terrible with animals. um, so do not trust them, is all I'm saying. Look it up. Trust me, there's plenty of stuff out there about how horrible they are. It's not hard to find anymore. But yeah, Team Plasma is the team in Black and White, and they're like, oh, you heathens. Oh, by the way, they look like knights, which should have been given to a better team. Like you capture these, living creatures and, force them to battle for our own amusement. Isn't that messed up? And a lot of people are starting to be like, oh, that is true. And it would be if, again, it weren't for the fact that these are animals that are like intelligent enough to consent to being trained to be stronger.
Mhm.
Again, you don't look at a coach training a boxer and think, man, he's abusing that poor man. Um, Also, they were lying. Gestis, the leader of Team Plasma, didn't care. He was using that as a sort of dogma to get a following so that he could capture one of the legendary Pokemon. That's all it was. So, um, Team Flare, I like Generation 6, but that team is the worst. They all wear gaudy ass red tuxedos and have gross, like, somewhat fire shaped hair. Um, and the leader, Lysandra, he has one of the stupidest motivations in all the Pokemon games. Okay, get this. He's like, I love beauty. I think aesthetic and beauty is ultimately important. Which is like, all right, I get it. It's fair. He's like, eventually, everything has to get old. Metal rusts, and models age and gain wrinkles. Imperfections are a, an inevitable part of the passage of time. And it's like, yeah, I get it. That is true. That does happen. It does kind of suck. So what is your plan to like use a legendary Pokemon to uh make eternal beauty? Or and he's like, nah. No, that'd be dumb. No, my plan is to blow up the world. It's like, excuse me? What do
That
you
escalate.
mean? But he goes on, he's like, well, because look, here's my logic, right? Because like, if I think the world is at its peak right now, I think everything is as beautiful as it'll ever get. I don't think we'll get more beautiful than this. I think it's all downhill from here. So I'm just gonna kill everything. He literally goes to capture either a Pokemon of life or a Pokemon of death, depending on which version of the game you bought, and make them a living battery for a giant laser beam to destroy the planet.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's the worst. Um, Generation 7 took. Oh, yeah. So, okay, let me talk about the regions real quick. The first 5 generations were all loosely modeled after places in Japan, right?
Mm.
Kanto is actually based on the Kanto region of Japan, which is the eastern region. So a lot of the topography of that area is like sort of like light forest, a little bit of coastal, stuff like that, right? Um, a little bit more modern, in the aesthetics of like the buildings and whatnot. Um, the Johto region is based on the western side of Japan, which is a lot more old world traditional shit, a lot more shrines or old buildings that are either falling apart or being remodeled. Um, and it's based a lot more on like the historical culture. And it's a little bit more, maybe a little bit more densely wooded, right? Uh,
Okay.
the the Hoenn region in the north, it's very tropical, beaches and warmer weather, a lot less trees, a lot more open areas. Um, and then Sinnoh in the south uh, is extremely densely wooded, a lot more snowy mountains or like craggy areas, that sort of thing. Um, and then for the 5th generation, they made Unova, which is just like some weird central area they made, which is supposed to be a blend of all of these topographies. Uh, Again, not a fan of that game, so whatever. But then they were like, we can't just keep doing Japan. We even sort of had to halfway make up the last one. So I guess let's start doing other places in the world. Generation 6 is the Kalos region, which is based on France. Generation 7 is the Alola region, which is based on Hawaii. And the newest one, Generation 8, was the Galar region, which is based on the UK, England and Scotland and Ireland and all them.
Nice.
Like that chain of islands. It's great because a lot of people refer to the female protagonist of Generation 8 as like an angry Scottish girl. There's a lot of fun characterization there. But yeah, okay, so in Alola, in Generation 7, the team is Team Skull, which might actually be the least threatening. No, you know what? They're tied for the least threatening and most they're definitely the team that I love the most. Team Skull presents themselves as a bunch of punks. They wear like skull bandana masks and like they do like hip hop poses and like, but like their quote unquote crimes are things like they stole a stop sign or they blocked a path at one point. It didn't like hit anyone, but they were just like, yeah, we're all standing in your way and you can't get through. What's up? Yeah, we're so bad, yo. And they're like doing little hip hop dances in place. And so like initially you're gonna be like, oh, these guys are fucking annoying. I want to beat them up. There's a random house you encounter because like you just go into people's houses. You know, it's an RPG, so it's one of those.
Yeah.
There's a random house you encounter on one of the routes, which seems like it's a little bit weird, right? Because you go in there and there's a guy, like a grown man, and he seems angry and he starts talking about his son and he's like, I swear when he gets home, you know, I'm gonna teach him a lesson. And you're like, that's a little more vaguely threatening than what you usually hear from these. And if you go off to the side of the house, there's a bag with golf clubs, but the golf clubs are bent.
Oh.
And you're just like, that's weird. You find out later this man's son is Guzma, the leader of Team Skull, who was abused as a child.
Damn.
And Team Skull is a bunch of homeless kids or abuse victims. And Guzma gave them all a crew and a home.
Well, at least it's a little wholesome.
It really is. And he honestly, they're not really the villains of the game. The villains of the game are the guys who seem good, the Aether Foundation, who they act like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a philanthropist group. Like they go around helping people for like charity. But they are okay, so that's the game that breaks into like multi-universal, like multiversal shit. We actually find out that that game takes place in a different Pokemon universe.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and the Aether Foundation managed to like crack this dimensional barrier, and you start seeing things that aren't Pokemon. They're called Ultra Beasts, and if you thought Deoxys was alien, oh boy, these things are alien. Like they should not belong in this world. It's very clear. You can capture them as though they are Pokemon using special beast balls, but they're not Pokemon. But regardless, yeah, the Aether Foundation actually wound up using Team Skull to get their nefarious plans done. And then the last team is Team Yell, I believe. like Yell, and they're not even really like a team. they're like they're hooligans, sure, but they're literally just a fan club of okay, what's really cool is that you know how the UK is very big on like their sports, right? Like especially soccer and whatnot.
Mm.
Uh they actually make the Pokemon League in the newest games more like the tournaments that you see in the anime. Like when you fight a gym battle, it's not some random building in the city with a few trainers that you fight through, and then you fight the gym leader with only the trainers witnessing. You fight gym battles in a stadium with a crowd watching and cheering.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you are like a celebrity in a big sporting event in this game, and uh, one of the competitors this year is a girl called Marnie, who is the little sister of one of the gym leaders. And she has developed her own fan club. She didn't make it, but fans of hers came together and they started calling themselves Team Yell. And so they give your character grief because they're trying to impede your progress to make it easier for Marnie to win.
Ah.
And whenever you confront her about it, she's like, I didn't ask them to do that. I'm sorry. She's like, I can't get too mad at them. You know, they just want to support me. They seem nice, but like, God, I wish they weren't doing that. Marnie's great. I love her. Um, but yeah. Oh, and I guess I'll use that to also talk about new updates to the game's combat system they added in the recent generations. So because you're in a stadium in the Galar region, that makes you have a lot more space on the battlefield, right? You know what that means? You can have a fucking kaiju battle now. And they do. They add a mechanic called Dynamax, where once per battle, you can make one of your Pokemon giant for like 3 turns. Um, Now, any Pokemon can Dynamax, which is just they turn giant. But some species of Pokemon, if you unlock their requirements and their abilities to do so, can do what's called Gigantamax. It's like Dynamax. It's not just they get bigger; they actually change forms. Um, so, like as an example, the starter Pokemon I picked in that game was Grookey, which is a little green monkey boy with a stick. I never picked grass type Pokemon, but I I like monkeys, so I went with Grookey. Um, and he evolves uh, into ultimately into Rillaboom. Well, mine was a girl, so she evolved into Rillaboom, who is like a big gorilla with a mane of leaves, and um, she pulls out 2 tree stumps, which she uses as drums, and 2 big sticks, which she drums on them with. Right?
Mm.
When Rillaboom Gigantamaxes, uh, these 2 stumps turn into a massive wooden drum set, and she gets like big, like vine tentacles, like 4 of them, like Doc Ock, coming off her back, and they each have a drumstick. And like another one is Cinderace, this like fire rabbit, who when Cinderace Gigantamaxes, Cinderace doesn't actually get any bigger. What it does is it makes a giant fireball, like a giant sentient fireball underneath its feet. So it's up in the air on top of this massive fireball creature. uh, or like Inteleon, which is the water starter. He's this like
Mm.
skinny lizard dude who evolves from Sobble, who is one of the most precious Pokemon ever. It's just this little lizard boy who's just constantly crying. He's just like, um, Inteleon, when he Gigantamaxes, similarly, he doesn't actually get bigger. what he does is he makes a big like water fountain tower, like a big jet of water that he acts as a tower, and he literally lays on his belly on top of this water tower with like a water sniper rifle.
That's funny.
It's great. I fucking love it. But yeah, so they can do Gigantamax forms, and it's very cool. In Generation 7, the one before that, their mechanic was Z moves, which is like once per battle, you could essentially upgrade a Pokemon's move to be a big old thing. Like fucking I don't know. Like I think Pikachu could do one where like he just makes a big thunderstorm or something, and I don't know. You turn one of your Pokemon's moves into like a big spectacle wide range move once, and it's like it's cool, but I prefer mechanics which actually transform your Pokemon. Dynamax and Gigantamax are really cool. I like that, but I think my favorite was actually from Generation 6 called Mega Evolution. When your Pokemon reaches its highest form, it maxes out its evolution, it's done, right? You can't evolve beyond that. Except in Generation 6, there were special Mega Stones, which you could equip your Pokemon with. And only one of your Pokemon on your team could do it per battle. So, like, if you had multiples who could, you had to choose who gets it. But you could temporarily evolve them beyond their limits, like the big Ben 10 Ultimatrix.
Mm.
They would evolve to a form beyond their maximum capacity until the end of the battle. Unlike, say, Digimon, where every time they digivolve into a higher form, as soon as the battle is over, they go back to their like normal form. Pokemon, when they evolve, they've evolved. That's it. That's their form now. Mega Evolution is the exception. So, like, one of the big complaints that was always addressed at Pokemon was that Charizard, he's one of the original starter Pokemon I mentioned. He's essentially a dragon, like flying lizard that breathes fire.
Mm.
Everyone got upset because he's not dragon type. He's
He's
fire
not.
flying type.
Oh.
And the reason was because dragon was originally the rarest of Pokemon types. In fact, of the 151 original Pokemon, there was only 3 dragon types. It was Dratini, who evolves into Dragonair, who evolves into Dragonite. Dratini is a cute little, like, it almost looks like some sort of mythical snake. It doesn't really immediately strike you as a dragon. Dragonair is gorgeous. It's easily my favorite of the line. It's like a giant, like, serpentine dragon. It's very elegant and beautiful, and it has the power to change the weather. And then it turns into Dragonite, which looks like a fat yellow Barney with tiny wings, and I hate it. Really fucked it up for me. But anyway, they were the original only 3 dragon Pokemon. So, if, say, the Elite Four member Lance, who is a dragon type user, wanted to have 5 Pokemon on his team, which he did, he had to have like 2 Dragonairs and a Dragonite, and then the others were just Pokemon that looked like dragons. So Gyarados, which is like a water dragon thing, but he's not actually a dragon. And I think the other one was Aerodactyl, which is basically just a pterodactyl. So, like, what the way they addressed that was, okay, we're giving Charizard 2 Mega Evolutions, depending on which version of the game you buy. If you buy Pokemon Y, because these games were X and Y, if you buy Pokemon Y, you get Mega Charizard Y, who is still fire flying, still has his orange and white color scheme, but like he looks more like aerodynamic. He leans more into the flying type. He looks like he can fly super fast and cut through enemies. But if you buy Pokemon X, get Mega Charizard X. His color scheme turns black instead of orange. His fire goes from orange to blue, and he goes from fire flying type to fire dragon type.
I actually just looked up that Pokemon's picture. He looks
Uh-huh.
fucking awesome.
It really does. Mega Charizard X was the best iteration of Charizard ever. I love it. Especially because like in the anime, Mega Charizard X uses a move called Dragon Claw, and when it uses Dragon Claw, like its nails like extend with big like glowing like bluish like energy claws, which are just big as fuck, and it slashes through enemies with that.
Mm.
Which is really cool. It's so cool. I love it. um I'm just trying to think about like what else about Pokemon I haven't said yet.
Actually, do you want to do an ad break?
Oh, thank you for reminding me because I never remember.
No problem.
All right, here's a quick ad break, everyone. Okay, that was the ad break. All right. My God, you are a lifesaver because I don't know what it is. I can get all of the other stuff of this podcasting shit down pat. It's fine. But then it comes to the ad break, I just can't. I don't know why. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay. Um I guess I should discuss both why I don't like Pikachu as a mascot and why I think Ash sucks. Um okay. My biggest issue with Pikachu is that they hopped on a certain story thread or like a character arc for Ash and Pikachu, and then they just forgot about it for 20 years. All right, let me explain. In season one uh, of Pokemon, the anime, um, Ash is kind of terrible to start. He really has to learn harsh lessons in the early days about how to um like uh when he when he starts off, literally he's given Pikachu because he woke up late and all of the other Pokemon got taken. So Pikachu is his only option. But Pikachu does not like him. Pikachu, in fact, electrocutes him when he first tries to hug him. Um, and because Pikachu refuses to go back into its Pokeball, like it just swats it back out of the air every time Ash tries to throw it at him. Um, Ash like winds up putting on rubber gloves and tying Pikachu up with like clothesline and dragging him through the dirt to go out onto his adventure. And
Holy shit.
yeah, uh, so he's like, "You're coming with me whether you like it or not." Basically, like you're my Pokemon, I own you. It's fucked up. And literally, the only reason Pikachu starts to respect Ash is because by the end of that episode, um, while Ash was like getting mad because like he saw a Pidgey, which is a nice little bird Pokemon, which is an easy first Pokemon to catch. He couldn't catch it because Pikachu refused to battle it. So he just tried throwing a Pokeball and it just broke out. And then Pidgey used Gust, which is like a little whirlwind attack to blow Ash away. And Pikachu was fucking laughing at Ash. And so Ash is like, "I'll show you." And he sees the silhouette of another bird in the grass. And this time he decides to throw a rock at it, being like, "I don't need you, Pikachu. I'll catch it on my own." And he hits this thing with a rock. He's like, "Yeah, I got it." And then it turns around and it's not a Pidgey. It's called a Spearow, which is a much more aggressive Pokemon. And Spearow like flies at Ash and starts pecking at him. Um, and again, Pikachu like thinks it's hilarious. But then the Spearow starts attacking Pikachu too, so Pikachu just electrocutes it. And flying types are weak against electricity, so it fucks it up pretty good. And then it calls for its friends, and a swarm of Spearow actually come down and are like slashing and pecking. Ash steals a girl named Misty's bike because Pikachu got pretty fucked up by all the pecking. So he puts Pikachu in the basket and starts like riding away from this flock of angry birds which are trying to kill them. And it starts raining, and he slips the bike wheel in the mud and he falls. And then, oh Jesus Christ! Sorry. I decided to check on that mouse and it's still alive, so.
I was wondering what just happened.
Yeah, sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I should know better by now. In this episode, everyone learns that Blue is afraid of mice. All right. As I was saying, he's riding. He falls in the mud. The Spearow are about to come at them. He literally just stands up and like decides to block Pikachu with his body. So he's about to get fucking pecked and slashed to death. And so Pikachu, like in slow motion, decides to like leap up on his shoulder, jump off of him at the flock of Spearow, and is about to use a Thunder Shock, which is like the basic level electric attack it knows. And then by pure like coincidence, like the luckiest thing that could ever happen in the world, because it's raining, like, you know, it's thundering and everything, a lightning bolt comes down at that moment and actually hits Pikachu in midair and supercharges him to the point where he fucking explodes. Like, okay, the tiers of attack are Thunder Shock and then Thunderbolt, which is much more powerful. And above that is Thunder, which is like a crazy, like it's where you draw an actual lightning bolt out of the sky. And because he is accidentally simulated using thunder, he just makes a massive electric explosion that wipes out the entire flock of Spearow.
Damn.
And it's like, if it weren't for that very specific thing happening, they would have probably died. And so from then on, Pikachu and him are cool. But they fight the first gym leader, Brock, and they break the rules of how these things work. Okay, Brock is a rock type gym leader, but at the time, the only rock type Pokemon, other than his Onix, which is a big rock snake, was Geodude and its evolutions Graveler and Golem. Geodude is a rock and ground type, and very specifically, ground types are immune to electric attacks. It does a 0 times damage multiplier. It doesn't matter if it's a level 1 Geodude and you've got a level 100 Zapdos using the strongest move Thunder or whatever. It does not matter. It will not deal damage. So, no electric attack by Pikachu should be able to hurt it. They said, fuck it. We don't care. And it just did. So, they cheated. But other than that, I guess I have to get past that. Because he fights Brock once and loses. And what he does is he hooks Pikachu up to like an electrical system in an old building with an old water wheel. And there's no river. So he winds up like exercising his body, like running like a hamster through this water wheel to generate electricity to like charge Pikachu and increase his power output. And it actually kind of hurts Pikachu, but he does it anyway. And it juices him up enough that he can fight Brock. And even then, the only reason that Ash quote unquote won, he really didn't win, right? He got to a point where Onix, the big rock snake, actually had binded Pikachu and was squeezing him. And Misty, the girl whose bike he stole, who was now following him, demanding he pay her back for the bike because it got destroyed in the electric explosion. She was literally just watching the battle, looked up at the sprinkler system, and told him, Ash, rock Pokemon are weak to water. And he had Pikachu shock the sprinkler system. And the water dousing Onix like weakened him. And but like they got interrupted or something. I can't remember, but ultimately Ash called it off because he didn't want to like hurt the Onyx, I guess. And so afterwards, when he was leaving, Brock literally just ran up to him and was like, "You didn't win, but you were pretty cool, so I'm going to give you this anyway." And he gives him the Boulder badge. And then Brock joins their journey as their friend. And then the same fucking thing pretty much happens with the second gym leader, which turns out to be Misty. It's technically Misty's sisters are the gym leaders, but Misty, you know, because she's like trying to get into the family business too, she demands that she gets to fight Ash. And again, Ash does not win. But at the end, Misty's sisters are like, "Yeah, we'll give you the Cascade badge." And Misty's like, "What the fuck do you mean give him the Cascade badge? I won." And you're like, "Yeah, but, you know, you weren't the nicest person at the end of the day." She's like, "The fuck does that matter?" So he literally just gets given his first two badges, okay? And so things, you know, go pretty smoothly for him. Then he gets to Vermilion City, where he meets Lieutenant Surge, which has his own really fucked up implications because his main Pokemon is a Raichu, all right, which is the evolution of Pikachu. And he specifically says that this Raichu fought with him in the war.
The war.
The war. Like, he's an army man, like military. Like, I guess there was a war where soldiers fought with Pokemon and also guns.
Damn.
So this Raichu is a veteran. But yeah, so the first time that Ash isn't just given his badge like a cheater is when he's facing evolution of his own Pokemon, who is also a veteran. And yeah, Raichu whoops the dog shit out of Pikachu. And while Pikachu is in like the little hospital of the Pokemon Center recovering, the nurse Joy, all the nurses are called Joy, by the way. They all look exactly the same. Just like all of the police officers are called Jenny, and they all look exactly the same. Apparently, they're all like sets of sisters of like tens or 20s of them or whatever.
Maybe they're
It's got to be some,
Pokemon.
it's got, yeah, exactly. Like, it's got to be some freaky clone shit or something, right? Like, but anyway, the nurse Joy comes in and is like, so your Pokemon got hurt really badly. Are you going to try to fight Lieutenant Surge again? And he's like, yeah, of course. I got to beat them, you know, to continue with my Pokemon journey. And then Joy is like, you're just going to get your Pokemon hurt again. So here, maybe this will give you an edge. And she pulls out a box and she opens it up, and there's a Thunderstone inside. Pikachu is one of the species that can't evolve by leveling up. You need to expose it to a Thunderstone. And so Ash had recently had a Pokemon Charmander, little fire lizard, and he wound up getting a lot of experience for Charmander very quickly by managing to beat a stronger Pokemon, right? And Charmander thus evolved into Charmeleon. But his attitude changed. Charmeleon became more aggressive and less prone to listening to Ash. And in the games where a Pokemon of a high level will not follow your orders all the time if you don't have enough badges to convince it that you're strong enough to, you know, be its boss, basically. Like, I think when you get the Cascade badge, you can control Pokemon up to level 30. But if they're stronger than that, sometimes they'll like you'll tell it to attack and it'll use a different attack, or it'll just like stand there and like laze about, like ignore. So Charmeleon got too strong for Ash too fast, and from there he actually turned into Charizard, who absolutely would not listen to Ash. Ash was not a good enough trainer to match how strong Charizard is, and Charizard knew that. So when given the Thunderstone, Ash is about to, and Pikachu like swats it away from him. And the two of them are sort of like locking eyes, having an understanding. And Ash is like, yeah, you're right. I would be afraid of like, Pikachu changing and, not being my buddy anymore. So, uh, and instead, what Ash did was he focused on the aspects of being a Pikachu that no longer has access to. Um, Sometimes when you evolve, you actually lose access to moves that or stat. So like the stats that a Pokemon gains every time it levels up are dependent on what species it is, and the moves it can gain upon level up. That. So sometimes if you prolong a Pokemon's, like younger form before it evolves, it gains different kinds of stats and it can gain access to different moves. And so what Ash did was he decided to keep Pikachu as a Pikachu because Raichu is physically more powerful, but Pikachu can be faster. So he figured Lieutenant Surge evolved Raichu super early, so he lost access to a lot of his high speed moves. And so Pikachu used a lot of quick moves and just battered Raichu over and over until he fainted. And it's like, yeah, all of that makes sense. I'm okay with that. And eventually, Ash got to a point of being a good enough trainer that even Charizard started respecting and listening to him. Eventually, it got to the point where Pikachu is clearly like as fast as he's going to get and has access to all the best techniques. There's literally no reason now to keep him as a Pikachu, because now he can be a Raichu. He can gain all of that strength boost and everything from his final evolution. He can grow up, but he can still be friends because he still respects Ash and he has all the speed and all the strength and all the techniques. Reason to keep him as a Pikachu, except for the one reason that they choose to focus on, and that's marketability. It's easier to sell a little Pikachu plush, they figure.
I think Raichu's cuter though.
He is! He's adorable! It's not like he's that fucking different. and, and like, if the implication is that Ash is still afraid of Pikachu like changing, I hate to break it to you, that's what growing up is. And that's my ultimate problem with the way that it's depicted in the Pokemon anime, because Ash is still like 12 years old.
Yeah.
He was 10 years old 25 years ago.
He ages slow as hell.
Yeah, so that actually, I'll bring up another fan theory. You remember how I said that that lightning bolt hit Pikachu and it made a massive electrical explosion? After
Yeah.
the Spearow were wiped out, Ash and Pikachu were just sort of laying on the ground together. They were both pretty hurt. And when the sky cleared up, they actually saw a mysterious rainbow-colored golden bird flying through the air overhead. And initially, they were like, there may be Pokemon out there that we don't even know about. Yeah, that might have been one of them. Later on, it was revealed that that actually was Ho-Oh, that rainbow bird I mentioned from Gold and Silver.
Yeah.
And the Pokedex entry for Ho-Oh says that old legends say that if you see a Ho-Oh in flight, that your greatest desires will come true. So there's this fan theory that Ash was actually lying on the ground dying, and that when he saw Ho-Oh, he got to experience all of these different adventures going on his Pokemon journey in his own mind. And that's why he never grows up. And that's also why he never becomes the champion, is because if he actually became the champion, his journey would be done. And he needs to forever keep going on his journey. And this is just what he's imagining as he's laying there dying. It is. It also doesn't excuse 20 fucking years of this show and just completely ignoring character growth. Because, okay, Red, the video game protagonist, canonically, actually has grown up. Remember how I said that Gen 7 took place in Alola, the Hawaii place.
Yeah.
Um, Red and Blue show up on Alola in the game, and Red is like a 20-year-old man now or something, like pushing 30, and it's still very clearly him. He wears the hat, but like he looks older and more serious now, and it's like that's cool. Like I get it. It's a kids series, but they're constantly making new kid characters. There's no reason you got to keep fucking Ash as a goddamn prepubescent teen.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're not anymore. They finally caught the hints that Pokemon fans were getting pissed off, and I think he finally won the Pokemon League. Um, and now they're saying the next series might focus on another character. Good.
So this will be the last time we see Ash.
Maybe I don't want to hold my breath, but hopefully. Um, if he appears in the next series as a cameo, I want him to be older and I want him to have a Raichu at his side.
Yeah.
All right. So I think it's about time to start wrapping up. Do you feel that you have learned about Pokemon today?
A lot.
Would you say that it sounds more interesting or less interesting to you now?
It sounds more interesting, but there is something I really actually do want to learn a lot about, and that
What's
is
that?
the Pokemon War.
The lore is wild. It's like you can find such bizarre stories in the Pokedex entries. Um, uh, like okay, and a lot of them relate to real life legends, right? So
Yeah.
one of the most popular quote unquote Pokemon, one of the funniest Pokemon that a lot of people know of is called Magikarp, and it's a shitty fish that can't do anything. Um, it the only move it starts off with is called Splash, which it's literally just it flops around and does no damage and has no effect. Um, at least Metapod, which is a dumb cocoon, can harden to increase its defense. Splash literally does nothing. Like literally, when you use it, it says something like Magikarp flopped around, and it shows it flopping around, and then it says, but nothing happened. And it doesn't learn Tackle, which is the most like basic low level damaging move that fucking baby Pokemon can know at level 1. Um, it doesn't learn Tackle until level 25. Keep in mind the maximum level is 100 for a Pokemon.
Okay.
So that's ridiculously late to learn a single damaging move, and it's something as weak as Tackle. Um, so people would be like, why the fuck? Like in the first game, the earliest you can get a Magikarp, because you can catch Magikarp just by owning an old rod, a fishing rod, and just fishing for it. Um, and then you battle it and catch it. But like when you first make it to Mount Moon, which by the way, the lore of Clefairy is great and ties into the rabbit goddess. Kaguya from Naruto.
Yeah.
Clefairy is related to that whole rabbit from the moon thing. I think I mentioned it to you before.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. But anyway, the first time you go to Mount Moon, you're at the Pokemon Center, and a guy's like, "Hey, you want to buy this rare and great Pokemon for only $500? If you do, it's a fucking Magikarp." And it makes a lot of people get pissed off because they're like, "What a jip! This Pokemon sucks." Um, but it evolves into Gyarados, that water dragon I talked about, which is way stronger and more intimidating. Like it's one of the coolest fucking Pokemon. And so as a kid, people are like, why does a weak ass Pokemon like Magikarp turn into this thing? And there it's because there's a legend in Japan that a koi fish, um, if one of them becomes strong and determined enough to swim up a waterfall, that when it reaches the top of the waterfall, it'll exit the water as a dragon.
Really?
Yes. So it's the idea of a Magikarp training itself until it finally evolves into a Gyarados, which is a dragon. It's a water flying Pokemon. So again, it is a basically a big fish that can fly through the air.
Yeah.
Um, so like pieces of lore like that are so interesting, and there's so much cool world building that can be done. I would honestly, genuinely recommend to you, uh, watch the movie Detective Pikachu. It's only like an hour and a half. Um, it shows Pokemon everywhere. The city in question is called Rhyme City, and it's a special city where there are no Pokeballs. They demand that Pokemon and humans both live as equal citizens in this world, um, which means in the streets you see Pokemon with jobs. Um, Machamp, the Pokemon I mentioned, it's a big bodybuilder with 4 arms. You see one of them as a traffic conductor because it can, direct the four-way intersections all at the same time.
Mm.
You see Golurk, which are big like stone golems, as like security guards at the front of a building. There's a walk in Chinatown where a Charmander is actually lighting the walk with its tail, which has a flame at the end of it.
Oh.
Yeah, so like it's just really cool seeing like this world with these creatures where animal life are intelligent and have all of these cool powers.
Yeah.
Um, so I genuinely think you should watch Detective Pikachu. And if it interests you, then maybe check out some of the Pokemon games. The newest games are on the Switch called Sword and Shield, and they're fantastic. I love those games. They're some of my favorites.
Yeah, I think I'll have to check it out. I gotta ask though,
Uh-huh.
about the Pokemon War. Is there anything else besides them being a veteran that we know about it?
Um, I'm not entirely sure. Let me look real quick.
Because that's something I'd be interested in learning about too.
So there's a fan theory about the Great Pokemon War or the Kanto War.
Hmm.
Um, Lieutenant Surge, the gym leader of Vermilion City, was a soldier in this war. When you encounter Surge in Vermilion City, he rambles on about how an electric Pokemon saved his butt during the war, but he never goes into any detail as to what the war was. He is also depicted as being a very stern individual, almost as if he was a sergeant sometime in his life. The theory also explains why Red's father is never mentioned and why Blue's supposedly an orphan. There were so many casualties that were caused by this war that it ultimately created an age gap between generations. Jesus. So they intentionally decided to leave that very vague in terms of the official canon. Um, but fans love speculating about this shit. um, oh man. Oh, that's crazy. Somebody did like designs of Pokemon that are like going into the war. Oh my, okay, so there's a metal Pokemon called Metagross who is essentially like, think of like a floating metal stone or ore piece with like floating metal arms and legs coming off of it. Uh it looks like they killed a Metagross and then put its head as a helmet and the arms as armor for a Snorlax, which is a big fat powerhouse Pokemon.
Isn't that the one that's like always sleeping?
Yes. Uh it that one is a very like, it's a gamble to use, right? Because if you catch a Snorlax and you send it out, um 9 times out of 10 it's just going to be sleeping through the fight. Uh but if you catch it on the rare occasion when it's active and you use it, it is a behemoth. It will destroy whatever's in front of it.
Really?
It is a powerhouse. It's one of the strongest physical Pokemon in the entire series.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's actually like why it's always such an intimidating thing whenever you see a Snorlax actually wake up.
Because you
Because
know
you're just
you're
like,
fucked.
oh, shit's about to go down now. It actually has a baby form called Munchlax, which is more active and it just likes to eat a lot.
Oh.
He's very cute. I love him.
What does
Uh,
Snorlax evolve into?
Snorlax doesn't evolve. Um, Munchlax evolves into Snorlax, and then that's it.
Really?
Yeah, not every Pokemon evolves, I should say. Some only evolved once. They don't all evolve twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In fact, Snorlax originally was just a single Pokemon with no evolutionary line. They introduced Munchlax later. Similarly, Pikachu, always evolved into Raichu, but Pikachu was always like the starting form. But then in Generation 2, they introduced Pichu, who's a baby Pikachu. And
Oh,
so that's actually what they're born as. And then they evolve into Pikachu.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I should also say breeding is a thing in the game. You can actually leave two of your Pokemon at a daycare, and if they're compatible and interested in each other, they might fuck and they'll lay an egg, and then you can have a baby Pokemon.
Can you crossbreed them?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
There is a massive dedicated community to specifically Pokemon breeding, to make specific versions of Pokemon with different abilities and stats that they don't typically start with, based on what their parents are.
Really?
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Like there's an entire subgenre of Pokemon gamers that are just in this big breeding community. It's wild. Um, but yes, uh, I think we're gonna go ahead and end it there. I'm glad that you're curious about Pokemon because I think the final thing I'll say about it is they don't market it well. They really don't. Um, it is depicted as just a very kid friendly affair where children can play with their little animals and have little play fights. And it's like, no, it's actually an extremely robust lore uh, filled story. It touches on some really dark shit. The reason it's still an enduring series, even for adults who grew up with it as kids, is because there's still a lot there for adults to enjoy too. Um, uh, for both you, Jay, as well as the listener, in addition to Detective Pikachu, um, I will not recommend the normal Pokemon anime to you. If you're curious about what it could look like, but good, look up a series called Pokemon Generations, which
Okay.
follows Red and his journey. Um, I believe. Let me double check that that's actually what it is before I. No, shit, that's not it. Hang on. Fuck. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You're okay.
Damn it. Original series, other anime series. Pokemon Origins. That's the.
Okay.
Sorry. They was a YouTube series where they did little mini-sodes, and it is good. I will also recommend that, but the main one I'm talking about is Pokemon Origins, um, which is a very short series, but it's very good. Red is actually in Japanese voiced by the same voice actor as Naruto.
Oh, all right.
Um, yeah, I would highly recommend you check that out. Um, Uh, and yeah, I just know that there's a lot to love about the series that they don't push in the marketing, and I think they should. Like, yeah, kids will always be coming in to play the series, but uh, you have. I'm 30. I was like I was like 7 when the game first came to America. Uh,
Mm.
you have people who have now grown up with the series, and sometimes they do a commercial about that. I know a few years ago they did a commercial highlighting like an adult who was brought back to his childhood as he saw the new Pokemon game, and he decided to buy it. And that's what a lot of it is. They shouldn't be so afraid to market to a more adult audience, like because that's the beauty of Pokemon is that everybody can love it.
Yeah.
It really is like a series for everyone. So I'm sure if you do a little digging into it, you'll find something that you can love. Do you have any closing thoughts on the matter?
Mm, actually, no. I
All
mean, I
right.
do plan on watching Pokemon Origins.
Yeah, you can find it online easily enough. It's really cool. Actually, they have Mega Evolution in that show, so
Oh, do
that'll
they?
be fun. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So as I said at the beginning of this episode, please check out the Cape Corner Discord. Every once in a while, we'll do an episode like this that gets voted on. Um, do you can follow my Twitter at Cape Corner. I don't post there like super often, but every episode does go up on that Twitter. So if you're not joining the Discord, which you should, you can find the archive of episodes easily enough there. Excuse me. You can follow Jay on Facebook, your shit poster of America. Uh, you could support the show if you are so inclined. It's okay, nobody does, but you could be the first. Um, do share the episode with a friend. The more exposure, the better. And I think that is about it. I'll cut this part out. I just want to ask you real quick. Will you be available next week? Do you think to do a Kingdom Hearts thing? If not, it's fine.
Next Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right. Cool. Then I might not cut this part out because I didn't want to like ask you that and then have you be like, no, I'm busy, and then like have that on the episode and be like, well, what a dick, he's not available. All right. Uh, all right, so then I guess you guys can join us next week where it's more of me talking at two people about a thing I like that they know nothing about. Uh, uh, all right. Thank you once again, Jay, as always, for being a fantastic co-host.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Everybody, until next week, stay strong, stay true to yourself, and remember, we can all be heroes.